Welcome to webinar 31 now. Thank you guys for coming. Last week, we talked about how you can utilize cross-selling and upselling for maximizing your profits on your store. If that's of interest to you, if you weren't able to attend last week, we always have those videos on YouTube as well as this video. After the webinar, in case you miss anything or you come in a bit later or you have to leave early, then you could always check back on our YouTube page where we upload all of these and other sources as well. But for today, we will be talking about how to expand your product line and how that looks for your store, regarding all things about the different types of product expansions, as well as what to look out for in terms of benefits and things to keep in mind while you're considering this option for your store. You might be thinking, do I need to expand my product line? What does it mean for me to kind of explore other products? And, you know, it's a lot of work, of course, whenever you're doing any sort of expansion with your business's product lineup, whether it's offering more sizes, more customizations, or you're offering new types of products. And you might be wondering if the kind of the effort is worth the payoff. And I guess there are some limitations, and there's also some considerations for you to think about. Um, of course, I think any business size can take into consideration a new product type or a different type of avenue to go towards, especially if you are very keen on who your customer is. I think one of the things that keeping in mind with this overarching topic is that you want to know who your customer is, what they're willing to purchase, and kind of the price point that they're willing to purchase certain items at. So if you have a rough or concise understanding of that, it will help you in the long run with understanding your product lineup and how you go from there. Of course, if you have any questions during this, feel free to ask them in the chat, or if you would like to kind of add in any stuff or ask a question through the video call, we do save a Q&A for last, and I'll be answering some questions there and answering your questions as well. But let's go ahead and get started on this. So give me one moment. I guess first and foremost, earlier I kind of mentioned it, but let's talk about the two types of product extensions or expansions, both of which could be used inadvertently, expansion versus extension. But the idea is that with the horizontal extension, you're looking at a different variety of products that are in the same product category. So it's a different, if you will, style, a different theme, a different flavor. This could be applicable to multiple industries, including wall art. For a wall art example, if you're focusing on landscapes, for example, you could probably explore into other types of genres, such as abstract landscape or wildlife imagery. So think about how you yourself as an artist can leverage your own art style into other categories that make sense with the current art style you have. Of course, I know and I'm very aware of how customers or artists have a very particular image in mind. This is more so if you are open to the idea of expanding into what is profitable for you. And I know that for some people, creativity takes precedent. You're more than welcome to take this as a kind of as an antidote. But if you do want to explore different art styles and you want to explore different genres or themes, consider ones that will benefit you as well on your store, and just at the very least practice those said styles and see if that's something you enjoy or something you find enjoyment out of drawing or painting. The other type of extension is the vertical extension, which is adjusting both the quality and pricing for a type of product, or multiple types of products, and they could vary between premium, luxurious products or more economical options. Here I kind of showed the idea that with the Dove brand, they started with their bar soap, which is a very economical product. Then they kind of expanded into body wash and then deodorant, a completely different product, and they expanded since then. Within the context of selling art, then you could think about what's the difference between selling a premium canvas, maybe framed, maybe with extra add-ons and such, and then offering then more budget-friendly items such as poster prints. So this is very, this is taking into consideration that you will have a different price point, maybe a different material, and things of that sort for your art. Whereas the horizontal one is more so the themes and having the relatively same product, just changing or skewing some things a little bit, and both of which you can utilize, or you could only utilize one. It really depends on your customer base and it depends on your store and your branding. Um, both of which can be very useful for you, and both of which can work or not work. So, being keen on which one might bode well with your store, or if both bode well, it requires some gauging of your audience and some analytics. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to kind of freshen up your store, or you're trying to see if there's ways that you can bring more customers in, this is one of the ways to think about product expansion. And speaking of, how do we expand your product line? So these are just overarching general ideas, but for the most part, understanding your audience is the first thing you should take being mindful of. So here, before you go into it, I think you need to figure out what resonates with your customers, and thinking about market research and customer preferences, also engaging with the trends that your audience might be attuned to. So not just within your customer base, but even outside of that, how are your customers' behaviors outside of your store? All of which are really important to understand. Um, I think with market research, if you have a back end store, most stores have at least a very basic analytics page that will let you know what products are best sellers, what products are people adding to their cart the most. If not, there's plenty of apps that offer that type of service if you want more in-depth analytics, of course. Some of which we kind of discussed last week that will help you kind of understand your audience more. If you also look at your social media, if that's a fairly active place that you and your customers interact with, look into what your customers that interact with your art a lot are posting or are into. This is kind of just looking at things on a case-by-case basis, but they're very insightful because if you have one customer who does repeat purchases or who is a big supporter of your art, kind of understanding of how they appreciate art and what other things they might appreciate might kind of lend you to know about other customers. So that's one item. Also, identifying niche opportunities, or um, looking at smaller sub-niches or subcultures in which your customer might be a part of, or your potential customer might be a part of. So if you are for example, a very coastal painter and you sell your coastal prints, who is the person that tends to buy a lot of nautical items? Of course, those are people who live on the coast, or people who have um, a love and passion for that. So where do you often see them? Things like photography pages, or maybe surfing blogs, or things of that sort, maybe specific yacht clubs. So there are different niches you could get into. Um, and it's a matter of being kind of smart with understanding your customers', I guess, hobby-like tendencies. Another item to be mindful of is seasonal trends, whether it's the holidays or if it's a type of season. Either or, you want to make sure that with the events going on, whether they're cultural events or seasonal events, you want to be mindful of those types of times. Say it's Women's History Month, for example, and you yourself are a woman, then it'd be great to then, push your post and, make note that you are a woman who makes art and runs your own business during that time. And to some people, that might seem, like virtue signaling, but at the end of the day, people want to support genuine creators, and many people who run these stores, like yourselves, are small creators or are business owners, and a lot of people do feel good and feels eager to want to buy your art, especially if they know some more about you. So feel free to leverage, cultural and seasonal trends that you feel you are a part of. Um, it'll only benefit you and bring in potential new fans or customers along the way. So that's one consideration. Um, Also, don't be afraid to collaborate with other artists and designers. I know there are some stores who do sell art only of other artists with a contract and royalty idea in mind, but they produce and sell and manage all the sales. If you're an artist yourself, don't be afraid to also add in other artists into your store if you feel like you're reaching a certain threshold where you can no longer keep up with the pacing of creating art versus the demand of new art. Um, as long as you're transparent, of course, let people know that, this is the artist you're working with or the designer you're working with. Think about also product designers as well when we're talking about expanding your product line. You might have a good eye for art, but you might not have the most familiarity with making t-shirts or making a mug. So in which case, if you work with a designer who is familiar with that, that might be very helpful for you and making your launch of new products very successful. Um, but those are one of the ways that I think you could expand the product line while still being smart about it and not overextending yourself. Another thing to do is to implement customization options. I know with some stores or some e-commerce platforms, there is some limitations, but of course, with all good things, the apps are a great way to implement said customizations into your store. Things like frame color, options like types of paper, things like maybe even offering an alternative item of that art piece. So, say you have a coastal landscape and it's a panoramic. It would be awesome if you could also provide it as a rectangle or a square or even as a vertical imagery, things that you feel like, oh, this might bode well with my customer if I offer it in alternative types. And in which case, yeah, customization is a great option when you want to expand your customer line. Just be mindful that with platforms like Shopify, there are variant limitations. So I believe for Shopify at the moment, if you do not have the enterprise grade level, that it might limit you to 100 variations per product, which sounds like a lot, but if you have 5 different sizes with 5 different customizations, then that could easily become 100 really fast. So just be mindful of that and going into it, know what type of customizations just make sense for your customer base. Okay, that's next one. So let's go into the important factors to consider when you're going to be expanding your product line. Ensure that uh, the new additions are going to be aesthetically and what's the word? They're going to be aesthetically aligned with the current products you have. So what you don't want to do is disrupt what is already working for your store by adding and padding your store with things that are not relevant to what you previously sold. Um, I think that if you have tried and true products that have been working for you for a long time, you have to be very mindful that whenever you do add in new products, it doesn't make your customer feel like you're entering a new transition away from the current products you have. Rather, you want it to feel like it's an exciting new endeavor that you're doing, and your customers will look forward to possibly purchasing it. Um, Things that you can do to kind of soften the kind of new entry of a new product into your store would be doing a sample or soft launch of products. And so that way you can kind of read and gauge the reception to them. Um, I know for some people, soft launching products might seem a little bit, overtly intrinsic, or it might be something that is like doing too much for what would just be adding a couple products. But the idea is that, one, there's kind of like a limited time or limited audience to that. It can help boast some excitement around it. And people love excitement and they love seeing new news and newness when it's introduced in an exciting and almost exclusive way. So soft launches tend to perk up the ears for a lot of buyers because or possible customers, because what they see is a soft launch could entail, first ever, if you are part of the people who could see the soft launch, then it gives a sense of exclusivity and it gives people some excitement, and word of mouth is a bit more open to that, as opposed to you just adding in the product and then thereafter kind of notifying people slowly. If you do a soft launch, then there's ample time to create kind of a small impromptu marketing strategy to it, but it will help then gauge a better read to see if your customers are excited about it. But if you realize that they're not so excited about it, then it's time to reconsider probably a different product or taking a different way of expanding your product line. Um, I know this is a weird kind of example, but I wanted to use it. And if you ever want to think about soft launches, I think a great example is Pokemon Go. If you guys are aware of the game, great. But if you're not or familiar with it, it is an app in which people could, play Pokemon kind of in the real world where they could catch Pokemon on their maps and do all those cool stuff. They could go to specific places of interest and collect bonuses there as well. But I bring it in as an example of what is a successful soft launch and the importance of them, especially for newly introduced products. For Pokemon Go, as kind of a case study, that was introduced in 2016. And what was very interesting about it is that they first utilized Australia and New Zealand first before they utilized Japan, the US, or Europe, other places where it's very popular. But they used it as a mode to kind of one, test out bugs, which is always important with a app. But most importantly, for I guess within the relevance of our topic today, is to gain a user feedback from said launch through a very small customer base. Because say something does not bode well, at the very least, only a small percentage of your customers were the ones who were receptive to that item. And if you feel like that turned them down or they weren't a big fan of it, then at the very least, it didn't apply to all of your audience and it didn't turn off your whole audience base or your customer base. Um, for them, they were able to tweak some items before they started releasing it over into the US, Europe, and subsequently Japan. Um, but the in the days that it took for them to then launch it in other places, a huge buzz was stirring as well. A lot of people were getting excited because they're like, "Oh well, it's only in New Zealand and Australia now. I can't wait until it comes to me." And so it created a very authentic word of mouth buzz that you don't get often with things that are released, all at once, because there is no sense of limited edition or there's no sense of FOMO, if you will. And you always want to kind of create a buzz when it comes to your new products because, it's just a positive perception that people will have of your product, thus making them more inclined to buy it. And of course, if you feel like that interest isn't there with soft launches, then it's time then to kind of go back to the drawing board and think about other ways. But at the very least, you only introduced it to a small percentage of your customer base. Um, so there's just a lot of benefits to soft launches or selecting a few sampled customers to then buy your stuff. Um, Another factor to consider is longevity and also trends when it comes to expanding your product line. I think that if we're thinking about it in terms of what works for your store in the long run versus what's trending, there's definitely a bigger importance to look at the products that will be proven to generate sales no matter the time of the year or also time in general. So it's good to have trending products, things that are relevant to the now or relevant to a specific niche audience that will do really well. But you also want to make sure that throughout the whole year, you are having products that prove to have that sustainability of giving you sales throughout the year. I think kind of like an example you guys might be familiar with in terms of like what you might provide on your store is providing Christmas-like or winter-like items versus offering things that are popular year-round. So here we have some items from the Luma Gallery here. Um, these are two are made by our artists that we have in-house and they produce art for us, but they, for example, here have a picture of the autumn or trees in a very neutral tone. And if you kind of look at this and gauge kind of what the customer is like, this is applicable to all customers throughout the whole year, and it's a very neutral palette, so it's going to be trending, no matter what time of year, because there's no specific color scheme that yields too much spring or too much winter in that sort. Whereas in the picture next to it, of course, it's a little bird that's in the winter time with cherries and such. So it's very much winter. And so, that might trend and might have a lot of sales during the winter time, but not so much during the summer or the spring. And so it's, up to you, but it's things like this where you might consider, does it have to be on my store year round, or can I just put it in the back burner or hide the product, if you will, during off season and then re-add it into the season where it peaks. It's up to you, but thinking about the seasonality of your products is one way to think about it, and that's kind of like what you can use to then look at how trending products look. Sometimes a trending product may be applicable to a certain season. Sometimes it'll be applicable once for a couple months and then it dies down. That's when you need to look at, okay, well, it's time to kind of pull it back and no longer sell it. But at the very least, you're able to get one, sales, and two, you're able to kind of get feedback from your customers and see how much they like it. Um, Once you start seeing a very stark decline in sales where you're no longer getting sales from it, then yeah, it's a good time to pull it. But at the same time, you want to make sure you have other products that are good and tried and true products that will sustain your store sales. So both are important. One more so than the other. You do want to make sure you have products that will always work no matter the time, and they have that longevity. If you want to then go the extra mile, then trending products are where it's at, but it does require you to know when to, launch them and when to kind of pull back on them. Another thing to consider when you're looking at product expansion is, especially if you're doing the vertical expansion, is to see how the costs are associated with the product itself, shipping and fulfillment part. You want to make sure that what you're selling makes sense with the price that you're tagging onto it. Um, this for an artist can be seen as like, if you sell your art and it's a type of illustrative art that will do well on gift cards, then you want to make sure that your gift card is within the same kind of scope of pricing that you see for gift cards on the regular market. And that could be between $3.99 online to $6.99 online. But you have to be mindful of where your product might lie between all of them. What are the differences in manufacturing? What are the embellishments or non-embellishments that people add onto their gift cards? And you have to make sure that the cost of it makes sense for you, and also the price at the final price makes sense for your customer. Adjusting is maybe needed as time moves forward to see which one type of price point will bode well with your customer. Sometimes if it's something too economical, some people might feel kind of not inclined to purchase it because they're under the assumption that it might not be the best quality. So pricing is a very sensitive topic in which you have to be mindful of what's too expensive versus what's too cheap. And you also want to make sure that you are receiving a profit at the end of the day as well. And with that said, you want to make sure that with any product you decide to launch, there is a quality control and there is a idea that with quality, you don't want to lose out on any of the you know uh, value of it. So for quality control, just make sure that it is a positive reception, and that your customers understand that it's made well and it's something that you yourself have checked and also made sure and curated. And finally, of course, product service and support. As you expand and your products, you want to make sure, one, your customer service is up to notch and you're very informed. Going back to quality control, you want to make sure that you're well informed on what the product is, as well as if you have a customer service team, that they are also informed on the product itself and they have things like specs, they have items like measurements and turnaround times and how it's shipped. all of these items that, your customer might ask about, you want to make sure your support system is well aware as well. So if you're going to launch anything new, make sure that your team is all on the same page. Okay? And that's about it. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. I will go ahead and answer some questions now. I think that with relevancy to this topic in particular, um, I think one of the things that is often asked of people is, when is a good stopping point for me to stop expanding my product line? And when is it a good place to then start making passive income? I think with a lot of people who have print-on-demand stores, the idea of passive income is very lucrative, or it's something that they want to obtain at the end of the day. Uh, just know that there is a lot of weight to that idea of passive income, because for a successful store to have the sales to where you don't have to really be on top of it as much, it still requires back end work in which you're always aware of what products are working for your store and which ones are not. Because what's the benefit of a print-on-demand store is that you don't have inventory. So there is no incentive for you to have to sell everything. And you can easily start something, and if it doesn't work, then you can just recall it and you don't have to worry about loss of inventory. Um, However, I think that when it comes to creating passive income type of mentality, there's still a lot of work. And even though there's a lot of people who say that they rely on print on demand for passive income, there's still a lot of work that comes with it. I think the effort is not seen on the forefront, but it's definitely seen on the backdrop, where you see that they're looking at ad analytics, they're seeing at what trends are working for their customers. Maybe they need to start promoting an item a bit more than the other items because it's doing more sales. So know that there isn't quote unquote a stopping point, because you always want to be aware of what's on your store's kind of forefront and what's working for your store at that point in time. At the very least, checking it on a weekly basis is very imperative to making sure you're making good sales. And if you're wondering why, your store isn't working, or if there is a slowdown in products, then that's when you need to go in and kind of analyze what you have sold and what you could potentially do to up those sales. Because again, passive income, it's kind of one of those things where people might say that, but there's still a lot of work entailing with a print-on-demand business model. I think that overall, for print on demand, what's really beneficial about it is that you can expand your product line as much as you want. But even with that idea in mind, you still have to be wary of what products make sense for you and your customers and your store branding. What you don't want to do is provide a store brand that is a part of a product that does not mesh well with your brand. Say, you do very high art that is very luxurious and is very aesthetically pleasing, something you might find in a museum, then is it necessary then to add it onto a t-shirt or a mug? Maybe it may bode well better if you offer it as a frame version, or you offer it in a poster print version, um, at a premium cost still, with a very exclusive type of paper, say cold press, or if it's framed paper, Somerset velvet. So these are things to keep of mind, that not all types of product expansions apply to all stores. But I think that's the main takeaway from kind of understanding, I guess, product line expansion. Um, but let me know if you guys have questions. I think I answered some that were there. Let's see. John Stanton asked, do you have an update on when Lumaprints will be selling peel and stick wallpaper? If I recall correctly, and Ken, if he's here, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're already selling them on the store. At the very least, I know we're selling the art paper prints, peel and sticks. If not, then someone in customer service might let me know, but I'll keep you updated on that, Josh. But thank you for asking. See, you're looking for framed canvas frame colors. You frame your framed Okay, so you're on the new website and you're looking for frame colors, and you're also looking for the matte colors for the frames. Photo references. Okay, I believe that if you are in touch with our customer service team, we will share those types of imageries with you. I know that at least for the framed canvas frame colors, we will have those available for you. As for the matte colors, I don't know if we have an photo references at this point in time, but we can work towards having those readily available for you. So I'll pass that along to our team. So thank you for the suggestion. Will Lumaprints ever consider packing fine art in acid-free sleeves and cardboard backing? Um, See, I'm not that familiar with acid-free sleeves, but I'm sure that we can investigate this. At this point in time, I believe we put all our fine art in plastic bags, which help with preserving it while it's in transit. As for the cardboard backing, we do some backing or we do, secure the fine art paper prints and some canvases on cardboard so that they're safe and come in handy. Of course, if you ever need paper to lay flat, we do that upon request, up to a certain size, of course. And that's something to keep in mind. If you have some more information about that, please relay that to our customer service team. I think if you have a product in mind that you would like to see in terms of acid-free packaging or anything in particular, then you're more than welcome to share what you would like to see from us. We really appreciate your feedback on what you guys like to see for the development of our products and also our packaging. So thank you, Leandra. Yeah, so for bulk ordering on your website, I think we kind of talked about it in passing in previous webinars, but overall, if you want to set up bulk orders on your website, there are different ways to go about it. Oftentimes, if you have some customers are interested in hundreds or several dozens of products all at once, you could even leave it as a case-by-case basis where it's, for example, if you have a product page, it's perfectly fine to then add on the descriptor, interested in bulk ordering, question mark, and then create a contact landing page from there. That way they can request specific products at a specific quantity, and then you can kind of fulfill that order on your back end and provide them a discounted price point. If you want to do it with minimal kind of work on your end. If you do want to kind of integrate a bit more into your store, then there are some apps that allow you to kind of promote bulk ordering by, I believe that they let you create kind of a price breakdown versus how many they order. So say they order 100, then they get a 5% discount or 10% discount. And if they order, 15 products all at once, then they get, a discount or they get a specific type of deal from there, like free shipping. So for bulk ordering, there are different ways to go about it, and whichever works for your store, there are different ways to go, different routes to take. If you ever need more kind of personalized advice, then we could always check out your store, and you could refer yourself to me here at Lumaprints, Lindsay. I work in marketing as well as my other colleagues who also work in marketing. We could probably help you with that as well, just to offer some suggestions at the very least. But at least with Lumaprints, we do have easy backend that'll allow you to make those bulk order purchases. Yeah, no problem. So for product weights, this is specifically asked when you're doing the shipping of the said product through Shopify. But because the fulfillment is done on our end, then weight product doesn't really matter for the front end of your store, or nor does it matter on the product listing part of your store. I think that as long as you know how much the shipping price is for your product, like Lumaprints product, for example, then you should be good. And I know that with things like canvas prints, the price can vary, but just keep in mind that we handle the fulfillment on our end, so you wouldn't need to work on any shipping processes on the Shopify's end. In fact, just let them know that it's, a flat rate or free shipping. That's one way to go about it while including the cost of shipping into your final price point. So you wouldn't need to worry about product weight. Let me know if that makes sense. Of course, if you need more details, let us know. Our customer support team is very informed on this stuff, as well as our marketing team. But yeah, no problem. Hopefully, all goes well with your store, Leandra. Okay. And if there are no questions, I'll be ending the video here. Next week, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this. Next week, we'll be in Las Vegas at the market. So if you are interested in what we'll be up to, we might post some videos. We might show you guys how we are when we are selling our new products to buyers at large. If you guys don't know, we also do business with brick and mortar stores or stores that are the ones that you go visit in person. We kind of make art and also produce art for them. So these kinds of shows, we do it to reach out to new buyers, and it helps a lot with our product development and helps us at the end of the day create a better, more streamlined service to you guys as well. So we're excited to head over to Las Vegas. I'll be there. Members from our team will be there. Our CEOs will be there. It's going to be a great time. So we're excited to have that. And as a result, we won't have a webinar because we'll be in Las Vegas or we'll be returning from Las Vegas at that point. Um, but please look out for next week, and then there we'll have some new topics for you guys and maybe some video content of the Las Vegas show. So look forward to that. In the meantime, if you ever want to look at any other videos that might be helpful for your store or for you understanding our product lineup, then YouTube channel, you just have to look up Lumaprints on YouTube and we will probably pop up there with one of our many webinars. So hopefully that will be of help for you in the meantime. If there are no more questions, I'll see you next week. So bye.